All right, hello guys. So sorry for that short recap, but I really want to keep that recap short. I have already recorded one recap about this Euro USD. However, I can't really open that video. I don't know the reason why. It says the file is corrupted, so yeah, I can't really open it. I can't really share it with you because you won't be able to see it. So yeah, I'm going to keep it short and let me start everything on the 15-minute markups. So what has happened on the 15-minute before session open? Well, technically, price has reacted on a 15-minute supply right here. Let me show you. There was a 15-minute supply zone mitigation, and after this 15-minute supply zone mitigation, technically 15-minute has changed character to the downside right here. There was really nice volume candles, and the inefficiency had to be filled up at this point. And at this volume push to the upside, there was two possible valuable demand areas where we could wait for confirmation entry. As you can see, I was waiting for a confirmation entry on this 5-minute demand area that has caused really nice volume to the upside, or I was waiting for a possible confirmation entry on this 15-minute week demand that has been created by NFP on Friday. So these were these long setups that I was waiting for. I was waiting for these longs because technically there was a forward demand zone mitigation. After that, 15-minute has changed character. There was the extreme 15-minute demand zone mitigation, and after that, price has just created breakout structures over and over again. There was the last recent real valuable breakout structure that has happened with these NFP news. And after this breakout structure, there was the last recent one. And this breakout structure happened from this low point. Price has broken below this structural low point. So technically at this point, we had a bearish order flow to the downside to these 15-minute or 5-minute demand areas. So on these demand areas, I was waiting for confirmation entries. If the 15-minute week demand failed, I would execute sells targeting the 50% of the forward demand area because there was literally perfect liquidity for the forward demand 50% line. So yeah. So what has happened? Why did I execute sells? Why did I look for sells? Because we could look for sells too at this bearish order flow. So there was the 50-minute change of character. After that, price has made breakout structure 3 times. As you can see, this was the last recent breakout structure to the downside, and it has happened from this 15-minute supply zone area. I was definitely waiting for a confirmation entry. I would definitely wait for a confirmation entry on this supply area, and I would target these 15-minute or 5-minute demand areas because this low point right here was a literally perfect middle of nowhere reversal. There wasn't any 15-minute, 5 minutes, 3-minute or 1-minute demand zone mitigation. So it's a literally perfect middle of nowhere reversal, and every middle of nowhere reversal equals as liquidity for future movement. So that was the reason behind the SAS. So SAS could play out from these supply areas down to these demand areas, and after these demand areas, I would definitely look for longs, mainly because of the higher time frame intentions. Because of the higher time frame, we're still bullish. So yeah. However, if price could flip this zone, could flip this 15-minute supply that has caused the breakout structure here, I would execute longs after the next valuable supply area, which was right here, that has caused the breakout structure beforehand. And also I did mark this 15-minute candle out. At first, it was a stop in the market, so it's not really valuable supply at this point. But on the 5-minute time frame, you will see that technically this supply has caused breakout structure to the downside, but it doesn't really matter because it was part of the liquidity for the 15-minute supply area, and you will see that on the trading view. So technically, these were the plans. This was my thought process during the session. And let's take a look on the trading view. Let me put it into full screen because it's much better to see in a full screen. So as you can see, here was the middle of nowhere reversal, and after this middle of nowhere reversal, price has made a pullback up to this 15-minute supply. The stop in the market, the 5-minute supply area that has caused breakout structure here, was clearly part of the liquidity. This liquidity has been swept into this 15-minute supply area, made a small percent mitigation. It wasn't a 50%, and EU likes to mitigate 50%. So I was 100% sure about that. This will be a sell trap. As you can see, change of character happened on several places, and also on the structural low point. And this sell trap has been swept into a deeper region of the 15-minute supply area, and after the full zone mitigation, price has reversed back to the downside with perfect V-shaped recovery and caused a flip, and technically it was a change of character in this case. So yeah, let's count the criteria because I had an entry I had a limit on the decisional zone, which was a pretty valid flip scenario in this case. I did not set a limit order on the extreme first because technically it was a decisional versus extreme type 2 scenario where price uh, has made the significant movement from the decisional area. It has flipped the last recent 1 minute demand area. So technically the significant movement happened from the flip zone, and the extreme in this case technically didn't do anything, but it was still the origin of this whole character changing slash flipping movement. And also there was one more downside of this extreme area, which was the double taps just above this 15-minute supply area. We could call this one as a literally perfect double taps, and as you can see, technically the extreme was part of the double taps directly. So yeah, first criteria, higher time frame zone mitigation. Second one, that was the liquidity take for the higher time frame area. Third one was the inefficiency in this case, and the fourth one was the pro trend criteria. Technically, we were in a pro order flow based on the 15-minute time frame. However, we could call the pro trend criteria for both directions. So if there was a 15-minute demand zone mitigation, then we could call a pro trend criteria for 15-minute or 5-minute demand zone mitigations too, because based on the higher time frame intentions. So we had all the 4 base criteria that we need. I had all the 4 base criteria that I need. So I started to count the variable ones. The first one was the flip in this case. I have already explained it. Why did I choose this zone? Why I set only a limit order on this zone? And yeah, so flip happened right here. There was a literally perfect V-shaped recovery after the higher time frame zone mitigation. So this is our 6th criteria. The 7th one is the 50% mitigation. Price mitigated more than 50% of the higher time frame zone. And technically in itself, this low point would be liquidity target for our shorts, but also price created literally perfect trendline liquidity right here, which has been built up for the shorts. So it was our 8th criteria. The 9th criteria was the not coming from any opposite sided zone. There wasn't any opposite sided zone higher. There wasn't any opposite sided higher time frame demand area. And yeah, price wasn't coming from any opposite sided zone. And I had 2 missing criteria for this decisional area for this flip zone, which were the corrective pullbacks from pro movements. Based on the 15-minute time frame, we can't really consider the corrective pullbacks from pro movements, especially after this 4-hour zone mitigation. After this 4-hour zone mitigation, technically the bullish movements were stronger than the bearish ones. And if we are comparing this movement into this movement, we can identify that technically this bullish movement is how much stronger than the bearish pullback to the downside. So technically this is just a really corrective pullback to the downside. So yeah, and the second missing criteria was the combined liquidation. There wasn't any liquidity creation for the decisional zone, but 9 criteria was more than enough for me in order to set a limit order on the decisional zone. And also the main reason why I did consider this one as a flip scenario and not a simple change of character scenario, because after I did not consider this small body break as a change of character. First, it was just a reaction for me. And after this reaction, technically the flip and the clear break happened with volume candles. So the volume candles was the key factor for me in this scenario. And yeah, and also once again, the extreme was technically part of the double tops liquidity just above the 15-minute supply area. I would use, and I used 3 pip stop loss here, and unfortunately price couldn't tag me in. If I used a smaller stop loss, I would be still in probably, but unfortunately price couldn't fill up this gap right here, as you can see, couldn't tag my entry limit right here and sell order right here. And after this reversal, price just slowly but surely approached my final TP point, which was the top of the 5-minute demand, and it would give me 7.7 risk reward ratio. So yeah, and that's all guys. I really hope you can grab some value from this recap, and I want to wish all of you a really nice rest of the day, rest of the evening, and see you guys tomorrow in New York session. I will manage New York sessions from now on during this week, and Marcel will manage London sessions. So yeah, that's all guys. Take care and have a nice rest of the day.